Welcome back, guys. You may correctly infer from our change of camera angle that I suffered some technical difficulties over here and broke my tripod. We're going to keep going. One thing I didn't tell you guys when we were talking about style with the uh, cascades is that the cascade is going to depict a tree's struggle to survive. You know, my grandmother lives out in a place called Sunbury, Pennsylvania, which is out the turnpike. And I can remember when I was a kid, we would drive to go see my grandmother. And as I was sitting in the car, I'd be thinking and looking at trees and looking at rocks. And you know what? I would see these trees in the wintertime with all this snow crushing them flat to the ground, right? And I'd be like, whoa, that tree's not going to make it. And lo and behold, in the summertime, you drive back out there, and there's that tree. It's not standing straight up in the air, but it's like along the ground, cascade meandering through the rocks, right? I mean, that's the idea. Okay. What did I say we were talking about? Material? Yeah, that was the whole point of this one. Uh, Guys, there's material everywhere. The term for finding a bonsai in the wild, so to speak, or in your backyard is called yamadori. Yamadori is a wild bonsai tree. There are certain times of the year that you pull trees out of the ground. Spring is one of them, and you are having things that are starting to pop leaves. This is a great time when you see like maple trees growing in your yard to tag them. What do I mean by that? I mean, you can like go out to the yard and you can take a rubber band and a piece of plastic, right? And you can put a tag on the tree that's a maple tree so that next year, when before the leaves pop out of the trunk of the maple tree, you can actually pull it out of the ground and you can put it in a container. Because if you put it out of the ground when it already has leaves on it, it's going to die. So you don't want to do that with what you call a deciduous tree. A deciduous tree is a tree that loses its leaves every year. If you have something like a juniper or a conifer, you're going to want to pull that out of the ground at the end of the winter time or also in the early spring before it starts to pop new buds. It's called candling. When it starts to pop these little tiny light green buds, that's new growth coming out on your juniper tree. Uh, these are trees that belong outside. You don't bring them inside ever. They like to be out uh, in the air where the air is the barometric pressure, the humidity is constantly changing, right? And they like to be in temperatures below freezing in the wintertime. They go dormant. Frankly, deciduous trees, when they lose their leaves, you don't see any action happening above ground, but below the ground, those roots are growing. They're getting fatter and they're getting thicker and the ramification of roots is getting more defined. You are getting growth that's happening below the ground. They need to be cold. It's not good to have leaves all the time. Things change. Change is good. It's good. So, just be looking around your property, where you live. Uh, have your parents help you out in this regard. Use the internet, right? We're using the internet for good, like we said before, and therefore you can look things up. I always recommend you look things up, particularly before you go grabbing and touching things, because things like poison ivy and stuff like that, they can they can be nasty. So let's not do that. Um, Guys, be mindful, be thinking, be looking at shapes, looking at triangles. Whoa. See that? Yeah. We'll see you next time.